Look, I'm going to say this straight up. Nobody cares. Yeah, you heard me. Nobody cares you're tired. Nobody cares you had a rough childhood. Nobody cares you broke, you stressed, you overwhelmed. Nobody cares because this world is not going to stop spinning just because you feel like quitting. Life don't pause because you feel hurt. Life don't freeze when you're discouraged. And that's the harsh truth. And that's the harsh truth. You can cry about it. You can complain. But at the end of the day, the clock is still ticking and somebody else is out there grinding for the spot you say you want. You think successful people didn't have problems? You think the greats got there because it was easy? Nah, they got there because when things got hard, they worked harder. When life hit them in the mouth, they didn't fold. They fought back. They didn't get on social media begging for sympathy. They didn't look for likes. They looked in the mirror. You got to stop expecting people to feel sorry for you. You got to stop waiting on applause. Stop waiting for somebody to come fix your life. Because let me tell you something, nobody's coming. You got two choices. Sit in your excuses or get up and build your execution. Either you're going to whine or you're going to win, but you can't do both. So many of y'all walking around needing motivation, waiting for inspiration. Listen to me. The moment you stop caring what people think, the moment you stop waiting on permission, that's when you become dangerous. You don't need a cheerleader. You don't need everybody clapping for you. What you need is a grind so loud your critics go silent. You need discipline so sharp your distractions can't even get close. You got to get up early. You got to stay late. You got to outwork the person you were yesterday. Not your friend, not your cousin, you versus you. You got to become obsessed with improving. Fall in love with effort. Fall in love with the pain of progress. Because that pain, that's the price of greatness. Stop blaming people. Stop pointing fingers. The moment you take full responsibility, that's when you take full control. You mad about where you at? Cool. Now do something about it. You broke? Hustle. You alone? Focus. You tired? Push through. Let me tell you what focus looks like. Focus means you disappear for a while. Focus means your phone dry because you're too busy building. Focus means you walk past distractions like they don't even exist. Focus means the grind comes before the party. Focus means you look at your future and say, I owe me. Stop running from the work. Stop looking for shortcuts. Every time you choose comfort, you kill your potential. Every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow. People don't need to understand your hustle. They don't need to get your vision. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. Because when the lights come on and you standing on that stage and your dream becomes real, they'll wish they worked as hard as you did when nobody was watching. So hear me loud. Nobody cares. Good. Now get up, grind hard, and focus on you. Your future self is waiting. Stop expecting sympathy. Own your struggle and take full responsibility. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. But it's the one thing that separates the ones who rise from the ones who stay stuck. We live in a world that's so quick to complain, to post every setback on social media, to look for someone to pat them on the back and say, it's okay. You've had it rough. But let me tell you something, real life doesn't stop to give you sympathy. Life isn't going to hold your hand and guide you through the storm. That's your job. You want to be great? You want success? Then you need to understand that nobody owes you anything. Not your parents, not your friends, not society. If you're waiting for someone to come and fix it, you're going to be waiting forever. You can sit there and blame everybody else, blame your childhood, blame your school, blame your environment. But none of those things are going to change your reality until you take ownership of your life. Yes, you've been through some things. Yes, you've been hurt, abandoned, rejected, but those scars aren't there to make you weak. They're proof you survived. Now it's time to rise from that. No more excuses, no more self-pity. Every second you spend feeling sorry for yourself is a second you could be building, growing, grinding. The longer you carry a victim mindset, the more powerless you become. When you stop expecting sympathy and start holding yourself accountable, that's when the shift begins. You're not going to move forward if you're constantly looking back. You can't build a future while you're obsessed with the past. People will say, you don't know what I've been through. That may be true, but you don't know what the person next to you is carrying either. Everyone has a story. Everyone's been through fire. The difference is how you respond to it. Some people let it break them. Others use it to build a foundation. When you own your struggle, when you say this is mine and I'm going to use it, you take back your power. That's when you stop reacting and start creating. That's when you stop blaming and start building. Responsibility is the ultimate freedom. Because when you take full control of your actions, your habits, your thoughts, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You may not be able to control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. That's the real power. It's easy to blame. It's easy to point fingers. It's easy to say it's not my fault. But easy never changed the world. Easy never created champions. The hard thing, the uncomfortable thing, is to look in the mirror and say, I'm not where I want to be because of me. That truth is what fuels change. That honesty is what gives you leverage. You see people succeeding, grinding, growing, and you think they had it easier than you. No, most of them just stopped making excuses sooner. They decided that their pain wasn't going to be their prison. They made a decision that no matter what cards they were dealt, they were going to play the hell out of their hand. That's the kind of mindset that creates breakthroughs. Not looking for pity, but looking for progress. Not crying over the closed doors, but building new ones. You can't do that if you're still waiting for the world to understand your pain. You want to know who's going to change your life? Look in the mirror. That's the only person who can take you from where you are to where you want to be. But that person has to be willing to stop pointing outward and start looking inward. That person has to stop saying, I can't because of them, and start saying, I will in spite of everything. That person has to stop waiting for a sign and become the sign. Because when you stop expecting sympathy, you start demanding greatness from yourself. You stop settling, you stop begging, you stop explaining. You just do the work. You stay focused. You show up every single day. Whether you feel like it or not, whether it's raining or sunny, whether you're hurting or healed, because you've made a decision to be responsible for your future. It's not glamorous. It's not flashy. It doesn't come with claps and cheers, but it's real. It's raw. It's the foundation of transformation. When you live by this principle, you stop living by emotion and start living by purpose. And when purpose drives you, nothing can stop you. Not fear, not doubt, not failure. Because your mission becomes bigger than your mood. You operate on another level, a level where you no longer need people to understand you. You just need to understand that it's your job to build the life you want, regardless of what anyone thinks or says or does. Discipline beats motivation. Build habits, not hype. Every day, people wait around hoping for motivation to show up like it's some magical force that's going to push them into action. They watch videos, scroll through quotes, listen to speeches, trying to spark something, but that spark fades because motivation is a moment, not a system. It's a feeling, and feelings are fragile. One bad day, one tired morning, one hard moment, and motivation is gone. That's why you can't rely on it. That's why the people who win in life don't wait to feel like it. They just do it because they've trained themselves to move no matter what. You think the champions get up every morning fired up and excited? Most days they're tired too. Most days they don't feel like pushing, but they do it anyway because they've built discipline. Discipline is the thing that shows up even when the fire's gone. Discipline is showing up at 5 a.m., not because you're pumped, but because it's what needs to be done. Discipline is saying no to comfort when no one's watching. It's choosing the grind over the excuse, the reps over the rest, the plan over the pleasure. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It only cares about results. You build it by doing the work when you don't feel like it. You build it when you wake up tired and still hit the gym. You build it when everyone else is partying and you at your desk grinding. You build it when you're bored, uninspired, drained, but still execute. Every action taken without motivation but with purpose, that's another brick in the foundation of discipline. You can't be great on accident. You can't become elite by doing it only when it's fun. Real success is a byproduct of consistency. And consistency comes from discipline, not hype. You need to stop searching for moments of energy and start creating a lifestyle of effort. That lifestyle is built through habits. Habits that lock into your schedule, like steel. Habits that say no matter what the weather is, no matter how you slept, no matter who supports you, you show up. You push. You give your best. Not sometimes, not once in a while, every single day. Your body won't always want it. Your mind won't always agree, but your habits will carry you when your heart wants to quit. Habits don't ask questions. They execute. Hype is loud, but discipline is quiet. Hype looks good, but discipline feels right. Hype shows up for the crowd, but discipline shows up when it's just you in the dark. You can post all the motivational quotes you want, but if your actions don't match your words, it's all noise. You can scream about dreams, but if you're not putting in the reps, if you're not sacrificing, if you're not consistent, then it doesn't matter because talk is cheap. Discipline is the real currency. Discipline is what pays the price your dreams demand. People think they need more motivation to change, but they don't. What they need is structure. What they need is to stop negotiating with themselves. You don't negotiate with your alarm clock. You don't negotiate with your schedule. You don't ask yourself if you feel like it. You get up, you get to work, and you repeat over and over until it becomes who you are. That's how you build momentum. That's how you start winning days instead of wasting them. Not with hype, not with loud declarations, but with quiet, disciplined execution. You don't have to go 100 miles an hour. You don't have to be extreme. You just have to be consistent. Show up at the same time. Do the work. Stick to the system. When others burn out, discipline keeps you lit. When others fall off, discipline keeps you locked in. Motivation can be broken. Discipline is built to last. And the more you stick to it, the more it becomes automatic. It becomes part of your identity. You don't try to be disciplined. You are disciplined. It's not what you do sometimes, it's who you are all the time. That identity is built in the choices no one sees. It's built when you close the laptop at midnight after a full day of work. It's built when you run that extra mile because your goal demands it. It's built when you shut down the noise, block out the distractions, and give every ounce of focus to the task at hand. That's what separates winners from wishers. The wishers want motivation. The winners demand discipline. They don't chase highs, they create habits. They don't follow feelings, they follow plans. And when the hype fades, when the crowd leaves, when the excitement dies, they're still there doing what needs to be done because that's who they become through discipline. Silence distractions, focus relentlessly on your personal growth. In a world that is louder than ever, filled with endless notifications, messages, opinions, trends, and noise, it's easy to lose sight of who you are and where you're going. Every second, something is trying to steal your attention. Every scroll, every ping, every headline is fighting for a piece of your mental space. And if you don't get intentional, if you don't create boundaries, you'll find yourself living in reaction to everything instead of taking action towards something. Focus isn't something you stumble into. Focus is a decision, a battle, a discipline. And if you don't fight for it, distractions will win by default. You can't grow when you're constantly comparing. You can't evolve when your mind is scattered in 10 different directions. You say you want success, you say you want progress, but how much of your time is spent on things that don't push you forward? How often are you checking someone else's life, someone else's opinion, someone else's journey, instead of locking in on your own? You don't need more information, you need more implementation. You don't need more noise, you need more clarity. And clarity only comes when you step away from the chaos and get still enough to listen to what your own life is asking from you. Distractions don't always look like nonsense. Sometimes they look like opportunities. Sometimes they look like good things. But if it's not aligned with your growth, it's still a distraction. You have to get ruthless with what you allow into your space. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every conversation deserves your response. Not every conflict deserves your attention. You have to protect your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Everything you will ever build, every level you will ever reach starts in your mind. And if your mind is messy, your life will be too. You want to grow? You want to reach the next level? You have to silence the noise. That means turning off the phone sometimes. That means saying no to the party. That means missing out on gossip, on drama, on trends. That means disappearing for a while and doing the inner work. People might not understand. People might call you antisocial, distant, too serious. But while they're chasing attention, you're building intention. While they're busy proving themselves, you're improving yourself. While they're caught up in distractions, you're locked in on discipline. Focus is a weapon. When you learn to harness it, everything changes. Most people can't stick with anything long enough to see results. They jump from thing to thing, trying to feel good instead of get better. But when you focus, you give your goals room to grow. You give your energy a target. You give your actions a direction. Without focus, you're just busy being busy. You're moving, but you're not progressing. You're active, but not effective. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. With everything you've got, distractions love weakness. They love when you're bored, insecure, uncertain. That's when they creep in. That's when they pull you off course. You have to stay grounded in your mission. You have to remind yourself why you started. Every time you feel the pull to waste time, every time you're tempted to get off track, ask yourself, does this serve my purpose? Is this taking me closer or further? Your growth depends on the choices you make in the quiet moments, the ones nobody sees, the ones that seem small but stack up over time. You can either feed your focus or feed your distractions. One builds, the other breaks. You're not going to find your next breakthrough in the noise. You're going to find it in the quiet, in the solitude, in the late nights of consistency, in the early mornings of commitment. You have to learn to enjoy your own company, to value your own voice, to trust your own path. Because if you're always tuned into what everyone else is doing, you'll never hear what your soul is saying. Growth isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it feels like loneliness. But that space, that separation is where you develop the strength that makes you unshakable. It's not about isolating forever, but it is about filtering wisely. Who gets access to you? What gets your attention? What gets your time? You only get one mind. You only get one focus. And if you waste it chasing distractions, you'll wake up one day wondering why you're still in the same place. You can't afford to give your future away for a moment of entertainment or comfort. The next level of your life is locked behind your ability to silence the world and tune into your own growth.